Alright, another Saturday. This week's Literature of Horse J. I'll play just one line, which I played a little bit of before, and I enjoyed it enough. I'll play a little bit more. So, basically, you start the game, you start with your survivor, in this case. All we can do is a human commoner because that's all we have unlocked so far. You can't choose a different race, can't choose a different job. Basically, you play with your person until they either die or retire, and hopefully you unlock more stuff on your way. We'll do power because we want to murder things. We won't play immersive mode. We'll let it help us a little bit. I can buy a pitchfork. What do I have now? What's my current gear? Yeah, I bought a weapon. Never bought a dagger. That's better. Now we'll pick a quest. As soon as I turn down the game, because it's very loud. I don't know why it's so loud, but Lord. I know most of these first quests are a pain in the butt, but we can do them with our level 1 commoner. His dagger. Can I disable the fucking tutorial? Because I know most of this stuff. I remember chunks of it. You arrive at the cemetery as the sun begins to set. The massive gates are open, so you make your way through, leaving the tall boundary walls behind. This is the biggest, most ancient cemetery in the ring. It looks more like a park with all its vegetation and architectural structures. Only the nobles and leading figures of the court are buried here, or anyone rich enough to afford a tomb here. You proceed on the gravel until you arrive at the caretaker's hut. Hello. An old bald man. Oh yeah, that's us. That's our random character. An old bald man with a crooked back opens the door. You're here for the lamentations job, am I right? He says, eyeing you. You nod. Come inside. The hut is dark and dusty, perfectly in tone with the cemetery. You take a seat, and the caretaker immediately explains the problem. It's a common thing to hear faint laments or even feel immaterial presences. But since the chasm opened up, the situation's gotten terribly worse. There's the spirit of a woman in particular that emits excruciating shrieks during the night. I've been doing this job for years, so I'm used to it. But now that she began screaming even during the daytime, she's been scaring off all the visitors. I've no intention of getting close to her. I've only been able to learn that her name is Amita. I'll show you the area in which she usually appears, so you may do what you deem necessary. It appeared a few months ago. It swallowed up the central area of the cemetery along with the old caretaker, apparently. I'm his successor. Nobody gets close, and they're right not to. Just looking at it gives you the chills, but worry not, our bothersome spirit isn't in the area. I think we should still be concerned about the chasm. He says you can find her near a big mausoleum close by. You can wait for nightfall here, as the spirit always comes out at night. You chat a little more until you begin to hear lamentations. There she is, on time as usual. The caretaker walks you to the door and shows you the way to the mausoleum, and then waves you off. You make your way towards the destination and arrive a few minutes later. On the mausoleum stairs sits an ethereal figure, slightly luminescent and despairing. Polite. My name is Amita. I'm an unlucky woman who has lost her loved one. I cannot find his spirit. Okay, she can't find her love. He died some time ago, and he promised to find each other in the afterlife, but his remains must be too far away. I cannot find him. I beg you, bring him to me. What do I do? Find his remains and bring them to the ossuary. This way, we will finally be close, and I will be able to find him. His name is Gent. He was the offspring of a small noble family of the Rain. I am sure you will not have any problems finding him. After pronouncing those words, the spirit slowly vanishes in thin air. You return to the caretaker and report what you learned from the wraith. No, we're not done. We gotta find this person. Done already, goes to the man. As you explain the spirit's request, and the caretaker has no objections. Nobody will get angry if we move a pile of bones. Follow me. Let's find out where the skint is buried. The caretaker leads you towards a small closet. There are huge tomes on top shelves, high up on the walls. These are the cemetery logbooks. All of our guests are written down here, he says, giggling. In a corner, you notice a piece of broken glass case. The piece is still scattered on the floor. Okay, so we've made a choice. That I don't know. It was like when I came here. And no, there's pieces of glass on the floor aren't bugging anyone. They don't pay me to clean up this place. I'm just a guardian. The caretaker gets closer to one of the shelves and takes out an old dusty tome. Please sit down. It will take a minute to find it, just having the name. You sit and patiently wait. Meanwhile, you look around and browse through the big tomes that surround you. There are pages and pages of names and stories. Thousands of people are here. And all rich people heroes are great nobles, well, more or less, I suppose. There's always someone who manages to obtain the spot here some way or another. There's competition in envy even after death. One of which is our friend Git. His name doesn't ring a bell. Here he is, shouts the caretaker after searching for almost an hour. His tomb is in the outskirts of the cemetery. Those are the cheaper spots. He continues while hastily reading the biography. Stabbed to death and at a young age. What a shame. The old man closes the book and asks you to follow him. He picks up the necessary tools to exhume the corpse and make your way to the tomb. You quickly find the property of Gint's family, a small piece of land enclosed by an elaborate fence. Various tombstones fill the ground, some of which with little sculptures on top, others with a slab of rock placed horizontally to protect the coffin below. You find the name you're looking for on one of these, written on the epitaph, divided by death, united by it, G and L. Caretaker begins his work on the other tomb. Let's see, L is not A. As you look around, your eyes fall on the tomb next to Gint's. It's quite simple, just a tombstone and the name Lynn. You look at Gint's epitaph once more, G and L, of course. Could it be referring to Gint and Lynn? Though you don't believe she's part of the family, you wonder why her grave is here. You quickly survey the other tombstones, but that's the only name that looks out of place. Your thoughts are interrupted by the caretaker, who calls you out to help removing the slab of stone. Together you manage to move aside the massive slab that encloses Gint's tomb. What you find surprises you. No coffin, just empty hole. The caretaker is speechless and moves his lantern a little closer to the shepherd light. You see a large opening on one side, which looks like the entrance to a tunnel. Now I understand the old man intimates with a solemn tone. It has to be the ghoul's handiwork. These bone gnawers took more bodies. They appeared shortly after the chasm. I saw one during one of my first nights here dragging a coffin. I thought it was a violator or grave, so when I got closer I noticed its bruised skeletal body and face similar to a skull with a ferocious expression. I ran away before he could grasp me with the skeletal fingers. I warned the nearest temple, but they still haven't done anything apart from a few inspections. I'm almost certain that they have an underground hideout. I haven't been one in a long time, but the bodies keep disappearing. You gaze upon the empty tomb a little longer. What do you intend to do? We're not going to go down there. You lure the ghouls here and capture one and make it reveal against the location. I mean, they like human remains, clearly. I'm gonna give animal bones. It's bones. Bones, bones, bones. Set the trap. You initially been hearing sounds from the tomb. You stand ready. As the ghoul pops up to grab a bone, you jump on top of it, immobilizing it. The undead begins to wriggle and moan, but you don't let go. Be nice. The ghoul is very frightened, but you promise to spare it if it tells you where Gint's coffin is situated. It confesses to have stolen it the other night and that it's still in the gallery underneath here. It'll give it back immediately. All it asks is that you don't hurt it. You've nothing against that, so you travel along the tunnel until you reach a rugged room scarcely illuminated. You find the coffin you were looking for, so you let the undead go, which leaps away immediately. You bring the coffin back to the surface and return to the caretaker. The caretaker is happy that you've recovered the coffin. Good, now let's go to the ossuary so that the man once for all. Though it'll be best not to tell the family we moved him there, as it is not a very prestigious place. It's the place where the corpses of people who dishonored the good name of their families are buried, explained the old man. Oftentimes, the richer families buy entire areas in the cemetery for them and their descendants. But when someone doesn't behave properly, they are buried in the ossuary, to hide them from others and their sins. And also not to disgrace the memories of their relatives buried next to them. Rich people are really odd. You load the coffin onto a cart and make your way towards the ossuary. The structure is imposing. As the caretaker opens the heavy doorway, you're overwhelmed by cold, humid air. You begin descending this noiseless abyss, transporting Gint's remains to an empty cavity. You carefully lay down the coffin when the caretaker asks what now. As soon as he finishes his phrase, the spirit of Amita appears. The old man leaps at you. There, I finally sense him. Thank you for your help. May the gods bless you. Stop scaring people. You tell her that now that she found her love, there's no reason to serve the living. Now that my limits have been heard, I've no reason to remain here any longer as well. You say goodbye to one another and then leave. So she had an strange expression. We don't know what's up with it. I don't know if we care. Just stash a new racer background. This means that's a hustle. So basically when we retire, we unlock things. We could unlock the cleric if we retire right now. But we're not going to, because we're going to carry on with our guy. I think if we die, we lose all of our unlocks, but as long as we retire, eventually we're fine. What do you got? I can change my things, okay. Yeah, sure, we'll switch to a cleric. Let's work cleric now. Buy a better gun yet? Or a better weapon? Or 145 gold? The wand seems better than the dagger. So. Where's my actual equipment? We'll do another quest. I just don't know how to change my equipment. Or I guess he has the wand equipped, okay. I guess he just equips whatever's best. Maybe. The bandits, the goblin invasion, and the enchanted waters. This one's always fun. I think I remember this one too. After hours of walking through several trails in the forest, you stopped to recover in a glade. But Druid didn't give you a very detailed description of the meeting spot. You're thinking of which area in the forest you should search next when a tall figure cloaked in a cape of leaves approaches gracefully. You must be the adventurer I asked for. I am Jinbo, Druid of the Circle of the Woodland Keepers. Follow me, there is much to be done, and you are already late. Just follow him, will be nice. On your way, it tells you that the origin of the problem. Some time ago, two foolish creatures came here to prepare a love potion. They were successful, but clumsily and irresponsibly spilled it in the river that spans the whole rain. Such carelessness created an imbalance in the natural order of things, that every insect, plant, or creature in the vicinity grows and proliferates at an exaggerated rhythm. This is causing problems in some areas where the river flows. The elf pauses. The swamp, as you may know, is an example of these areas. Clearly, everyone's pointing at his keepers as the ones responsible for this disaster. And while not even remotely involved, we are called upon to solve the matter. Meanwhile, you sense the sound of flowing water. You've arrived near the river. There, take a look with your own eyes at the result of such stupidity. The river flows beneath you. From here you can see its banks, infested with a myriad of aquatic plants, masses of putrefying fish and frogs, the clouds of insects buzzing over them. Imbalance and its consequences, says Jinbo in a sorrowful tone. What you need to do is simple. Find the witch to prepare the potion and ask her which components she used to prepare it. This way it will be much easier for us to prepare a restoration potion. Now go. Okay, then we go find the witch. Such generic directions. You still haven't found any alerts to the marks you mentioned. Luckily, you see a group of men in the distance. You could ask them for directions. You approach them and notice the shield brothers sitting on their coats. Surely they'll be able to help. I'm going to see the king, says one of them, indicating in front of him. But even with that, correct orders. Pretty sure that the capital isn't that way, only mountains. Tell the man he's going the wrong way, but he's unsure of what he's saying. You're wrong, the king is that way, I tell you. Just continues to gaze in the direction. You don't like the void look of these warriors. It's best to let them proceed. You'll find the witch on your own. Many hours go by, but you eventually find the small hut that Jinbo was talking about. You knock on the door, a middle-aged woman will let you in. Out of colors or difficulty? Explain the whole story of the one, particularly the part where the druids begin to know the regions need the great elixir. The sickle elves want my help. They can't forget it. Where are they every time a farmer or shepherd is in trouble? They never deign to help us poor folk that live near the forest, let alone solve their problems on their own. Do we just want to plead? We'll try and talk to the elves. Yes, based on some vague promises, just do it. You can weep all you want, it won't work. They have many poor souls. Tell me, damn it. She just won't tell me nothing. So now I have to go to the areas and find these plants that he wants. Follow over until you're steeped in the cavern described. You make your way in, sinking your feet. Less the mushroom described by the druid, there's a mauvish color almost tells you. Some release a slight shower of spores, which form the coating as they set on the water. We're not good at yellow. Try and do this. Incapacitated to remove the mushroom release class 4 right in your face. You instinctively pull yourself back, coughing and waving your hand to remove the dust, but immediately notice something's not right. You quickly get back to work, but your eyesight becomes blurry, and sometimes you get double vision. You also begin to hear a screeching and cold sweats. It will hurt herself, it's fine. Sheathing your weapon and swinging it around randomly. The cavern vertiginously swirls around while you flee, making you stumble and bang against the walls. Then finally you manage to see the presences, some dark and indistinct figures that you reduce to shreds each time they come within range. At last you make your way out and lay on the ground to cover. Your senses return to normal, but you still feel somewhat dazed. You examine your weapon to make out if what you saw in there was real or not. All you find on it is mushroom pulp. You didn't die, so that's all that matters. You advance along the river until you reach a large rock. From here you divert towards the left until you reach an area with sparse trees surrounded by a thick underwood. An extremely dense underwood, to be honest, clearly overdeveloped. Exactly the place described by Jinpao. You locate the bigger plants around the middle and the ones the elf recommended you harvest. Hopefully we make our way through without a problem. Until you reach the giant plants. You're in an intricate tangle of shrubs and grass, almost up to your chest. You're intent on gathering a sample from the plant when suddenly you feel like something's crawling on your legs. You decide to take a look when instead you feel a painful pinch on your arm. You look and see it's an ant as big as your finger, tightly anchored to your skin with its big mandibles. You fling it off with your hand, but soon another bite begins to burn quite a lot. You look around and see many ants on your legs, and even more on the ground, and plants surrounding you. There goes half HP. The ants assault you immediately and begin to bite. You try to resist, but the bites are too painful. You leave the plant alone and withdraw, shake off the creatures. You're resigned to gathering a sample from the smaller plants. Here you can at least handle those damned ants. Furthermore, you feel your muscles are pretty sore. Could those monstrosities have been venomous? Now we gotta get the cruciferous plant. Our negative debuffs. Our person may die soon. Maybe we'll just retire him after this, and YOLO. You follow the river shore until you reach a large bite. At about a meter from the shore, you see some enormous carnivorous plants popping out of the water. They could gobble you up from the waist up. Every now and then you see their jaws snap when big insect peppers too close. You're pretty sure they gladly eat you as well. Better be careful. You ponder over what to do and locate the more isolated plants. There's one completely alone but very large and menacing. The alternative would be a group of smaller plants. We're going to be safe. You come close to the carnivorous plants. They're not as large as some of the more isolated specimens, but in return they look a lot more lively. You take one step after another, trying to get close enough to rip a leaf off a leaf without taking a risk. However, once you're almost there, a multitude of thorny tendrils emerge instantaneously from the water and begin to lash out of the air towards your direction. We couldn't dodge and we died. Okay. Because our guy sucked. And we still only have human unlock because we didn't retire a person, so. So we'll run that back and try again. We can start the same quest and cleric unlock again. But we can skip it this time because we know all the correct answers. Or at least all the answers that worked. See, we did a good job. Yeah. Shall become cleric. You know, we're just gonna retire you immediately. His name. I don't care about the leaderboard, just retire. Idiot. Now we should be able to start with cleric if we want to. Which we shall. Let's see if we get anything different, because I don't remember. We're gonna unlock more classes. This fight's in the tavern. We can do our limits again real quick and knock that out. That's an easy quest we already know all the answers to. Let's get more XP for our cleric. And now we can do this. Let's see what that does. So that didn't do anything special. Well, that's fine. So now we can learn a little more about Amita. She's very nice. Where it says she was a noble woman, but disgraced herself after committing a homicide. Character goes quiet again this year's next period. Oh, you never mentioned who her victim was. So she killed Kent. Afterwards, she was imprisoned, executed, buried here, obviously. So put him back. Let's go talk to Amita. Try to make her repent and find peace or thwart her scheme. You lose. Kinda, who cares? So we failed. Save Ghent. His spirit. But we failed the quest overall, which is whatever. Make any money. That's what I want. So we have something. This fight's in the tavern for 50 gold. Yeah, you see, you just do the quests, make your choices. A small crowd of yokels and scoundrels is gathered in the center of the inn. I can't talk today. They've apparently knocked over tables and stools to make room for the two men brawling in the middle. They're making a mess. All around them, all sorts of people are cheering for one or the other, betting, rudely and annoyingly cursing and burping. Two other men lying down try to recover from what seems to have been a sound beating in the ring. Two more contestants, also quite drunk, just began a new fight, rallying the people inside the inn even more. Judging by his apparel, one of them must be a stonecutter, a burly middle-aged dwarf with fists as big as his head, and clearly more devoted to fighting than commerce. The other is a young boy with pale skin and very dark hair, wearing a long robe, definitely too wide for his body. Midway through the crowd, emanating a dazzling blue gleam from your hands and eyes. Everyone understands that you're one of the clerics from the temple. The mob falls silent and recomposes. The stonecutter kneels in a sign of respect, while the boy furtively and quickly makes his way out of the tavern. Something must have frightened him. Talk to the dwarf. He asks why a stonecutter became so quarrelsome in the tavern. The dwarf bluntly says that he wanted to give a lesson to the long-legged son of the gun he met in the inn. His daughter wants to marry someone who belongs to the tall races, and he can't accept that. Only a dwarf, possibly a noble stonecutter, is worthy of my daughter. Doesn't matter. Okay. You turn to the center of the inn, tell forward what to do. Let's go follow him. You're outside, look for him in the eyes, but there's no... Okay. Easy quest. Solve the problem. We didn't do anything, but we solved the problem. We just showed up, flashed our eyes, and said, yo, knock it the fuck off. Can we afford anything better yet? Make some armor. We could buy a robe. Or we'd save a little bit and get something better. Enchanted water, Scotland invasion, missing child. We can try the enchanted waters again, see if we don't get ourselves killed immediately. Maybe we can convince the witch to help us this time. She just doesn't care. Now we gotta do all the things again. We're just gonna be safe and do all the safe things. Except for the ants. We're not gonna let the ants murder us this time. We'll try the larger plant this time. I don't like either of those options. Now we die. Okay. So we failed there again. Yeah. I don't want to put my name again. Okay, we'll try it with the cleric again. We'll do one more run. And we'll do those two quests that we know what they're doing first, and then we'll, you know, do something different. Oh, we can't pick the limit this time. Okay, that's fair. Well, I guess we'll try bandits. You arrived at the village early in the morning. You talked to the old man, but I forgot to buy a weapon. But he doesn't have any gold to offer. The Shield Brothers of the fortress up on the hills don't want to send their warriors. They say you have more urgent matters to deal with at the moment. They've protected us for years, we don't know how to defend ourselves. Don't abandon us. Cursing the old man, you leave his house, thinking that you should help him anyway. Take a long walk outside the village until you reach an unstable watchtower. You sit on a big rock deep in your thoughts, when you hear the sentinels running down, saying the bandits are coming. Just try and negotiate, we can be nice. After a bit, you hear the group coming closer. At first, you notice the pathfinders in the woods around you. Then you see the whole group coming. They seem ready for a fight. A tattooed man with long hair comes towards you, asking what you're looking at. Asking if you can pillage with them and share the spoils, or act as an intermediary. No, we just get murdered. This isn't common. The fact they managed to get free. Okay, so they tied us up and let us free. I think we're just going to immediately die here again. We haven't had very many successful runs. Yeah, I know we hurt each other at the same time. I think we're going to die, so we're going to run away. Yeah, well, the commoners died. It's very unfortunate. I need to buy a weapon because I forgot. We'll go with magic bracelets this time. And a basic herb, so we have a little bit more health. Not good, an easy quest. We can get some easy money, and we know the answers. But we'll try and do something different so we can hopefully save him and not die. She's the Evil Spirit, we know. Up again. Get back. Okay, this didn't work last time. Maybe we'll try to thwart her scheme. Exercise the Evil Spirit. You're not moved by her look and begin to recite the formula to banish her from the flames. Amaya swiftly alters her expression in pure hatred and mutes the shriek. The strong wind suddenly raises, but you do not let it intimidate you. Continuing on with your incantation. The spirit approaches trying to grasp you, but you manage to finish the formula in time and vanishes in a blink, along with the unnatural wind. Okay. So we successfully got rid of her that time. She was a bad spirit. The temple loves us. So that was the better option, clearly. I don't think we get anything like retirement-wise from that, but that's cool. That's good. Fist fights in the tavern's easy for a cleric. We can go do that real quick. Because again, we know all the answers because you've done the quest before. So actually, the startup while you're building your character is somewhat repetitive. I mean, if you get the wrong answers, you fucking die like I do all the time, but... It's free XP and money, pretty much. Buy anything better? 130 gold. Lesser magic. Yeah, 135, we can buy this, and it's significantly better than that. So if we get that money, we'll buy the next piece of armor upgrade if we survive our next quest. Goblin invasion, enchanted waters, unarranged marriage. That's probably that same dwarf we just dealt with. Let's talk to him. Let's see how we go. How exhausting you thought after climbing the steps. Come on, don't pretend to be fit, you're out of breath. You manage to reach the main access and get in, and you find yourself in a huge, dark and crumbling hall. These ruins seem to have been abandoned for centuries. You try to catch sight of a figure among these big statues. Something similar to a dwarf, but it's too dark to find your bearings. You start to suspect you got the place wrong, yet there's no other dwarvish underground city in the realm as far as you know. Suddenly you hear a whistle and see a little flame burning from a corner to your right. You recognize the silhouette of a dwarf coming from the hole in the wall, but it's not just any dwarf, it's that thug you met in Tavern. See, I knew it. Adventurer, come here. You do as he bids, and he leads you down the narrow, crooked tunnel. You follow with some difficulty, a little breathless behind the dwarf who's light and agile over the stone. Let's talk about the ruins. The crumbling room you saw earlier is not abandoned. The dwarves were simply doing some renovations to the area, but a few months ago they had to stop because of the stonemason strike. First time down here, you can't be a true merchant, adventurer, or tourist of the realm if you've never been to this magnificent city at least once. With resignation, he explains the situation to you. We, the stonecutters, pass on our wealth from generation to generation. On the wedding day, as has been the tradition for centuries, the bride remember officer receives, I can't talk, a coffer filled to the rim with gold and jewels. For this reason, stonecutters want their sons and daughters to marry other dwarves, preferably from the Stonecutters Guild, so you can receive greater wealth in return. Why have you tried to find out your daughter's fancies? The dwarf replies that he has no intention of letting his daughter find out he's investigating her. She'd be furious. You know how teens are, he cautions. He adds that his daughter must never see the two of you together, or she would suspect that he has hired you to persuade her to marry a dwarf. He'll be a dwarf for certain. I swear on my ancestors. My Brenna is stubborn, says she's in love with one of those bean poles. Down here we call them tall beans, in a less respectful way, obviously. If it's a man or an elf, though, I don't know. Why it can't be an orc? Because it can't be orcs. Never. I'd rather die than watch my daughter marry an orc. These savages, living like pirates or warmongers among the command of your king. There's a deep hatred between us, the dwarves and the orcs, who planned Bloody Sail for 500 years. Since they attempted a coup against King Herman IV, the best stonecutter history has ever known. They gave away the throne to an ancestor of your inept surface-dwelling king. Why do you hate the king? Things are getting complicated. As you know, the king above ground has been struggling lately to keep the realm under his control. His guards are rebelling against him, and down here the people are starting to ask themselves how it is possible that a sovereign is respected, even by his most trusted men. After walking several meters through the tunnel in the dark, only the light of the dwarf's torch guides you, and the landscape opens up in front of you, revealing a town built into the stone in a huge cavern. Magnificent, isn't it? The dwarf smiles. Anyway, my name is Churdur. He nods in introduction. Great stone buildings lie before you, with intricate designs and colonnades, surrounded by more modest stone structures. Ramps and suspended over streets sustained around round arches. The square is teeming with people of every race, merchants of all types trading and screaming to lure in potential buyers. Booths of spices, ripe fruits, and strange animals envelop you with the scents and vibrant colors. You arrive in front of a nice house in one of the main streets. Report to me as soon as you have found some clues as to the identity of this third-rate womanizer. Start looking at the Emporium. The owner is always well informed, especially where gossip is concerned. You step into a weird shop full of curiosities. Welcome, traveler. You can find everything you want at Griffin's Feathers, and sometimes something you would never expect. A sharp little voice welcomes you inside the shop. After a while, you notice a tiny creature barely taller than a boot, talking. Hey, haven't you met a gnome before? Fuck you, gnome. The little man fixes the large pointy hat on his head and says, how can I help you? I'll kick you in the face. No tells you business is great, even if he's having problems with the suppliers lately. He's heard rumors about it. It seems some smugglers have been stealing rare goods from his delivery boys down in the suburban alleyways. Well, we're talking about things that can't exactly display here in my shop. Don't judge me. My clients have special demands. I didn't say anything to the guards for obvious reasons. It's not permitted to sell these kind of products in town. So I get more reward if I go find his goods. Okay. The note tells you people here have been nervous lately. There's the stonemason strike, as you've already noticed. The west entrance's renovations was suspended. He also tells you the people here are afraid of the recent violent events of the surface world. There's also great excitement over the live concert here tonight. Dustin Bevere, one of the most famous minstrels of the realm, is performing. The note tells you the authorities are still investigating the turmoil. It seems some Shield brothers are rebelling against the king, and they are plotting to take power. It seems a coup d'etat is coming, but nobody knows who is leading the rebellion. The gnome says the minstrel is an elf with long blonde hair. He's a celebrity of the realm. He also tells you the famous bard is loved by women and envied by men. The girls who listen to his music go crazy for him, and that makes the boys angry whenever they see him. Unfortunately, the gnome doesn't have any other information and tells you to ask the tourists in the market. They can tell you more. There's one powerful. They say the old dwarf is losing his mind. He's really concerned about his daughter. He spends all night at the tavern above ground drinking. Drink well. I mean, why does he have to go to those bean pools? Like, nobody down here knows about his troubles. He could get drunk at our own tavern. At least the beer is better. Here's sweet Brenna. She used to come around the Emporium when she was a child. We always played together with her dolls. She loved them so dearly. She has grown so much how time flies. Okay, let's go find his daughter and see what's up. Market or suburbs? Market. Market is in one of the corners of the square. You can see it stands on the road. Have a taste of these sweets, calls an elf with a hooked nose, offering you some candy dates. Fresh meat, blah blah blah, selling shit, okay. In this market there are sellers of every need. After the first stands, you see 3 sellers chanting cheerfully. We're here for the daughter, let's see. One of the 3 says he doesn't know much about the girl. She's the daughter of an honorable stonecutter, and she often comes to the market to buy some meat from him. Rumor has it that her father is really worried about all his wealth. His daughter wants to marry a tall bean, and they don't honor stonecutter customs. Let's talk about the minstrel. Yes, the elf has driven all the girls of the realm mad, especially the young stonecutters. So maybe she's just trying to marry this fucker. Contrary to what you think, the minstrel is a terrible player. People despise his music. That isn't unusual, but the way women worship him is. He's not even particularly handsome. Rumor has it that he has a magic instrument, which can charm any woman with a few notes, the magical lute. And that's the lute. So we gotta go talk to the lute. So I mean, is she just holding herself off for this elf? I don't think he's legit gonna marry your daughter. I think she's just infatuated. Magic. Speak to the other stonecutter family to loot seller whose shop center. Near the square with the ancient statue, you must be quick about it. You're going to face that tall beam before the concert begins. He doesn't want him to get away unpunished. You tiptoe into Brenna's bedroom. She's wearing a splendid cream dress, very elegant. She hasn't noticed you. She's too engrossed in putting on her makeup, fixing her hair, and loudly singing the same song you heard when you came into Torter's house. Love, I will marry you, na na na. It's an average wealthy teen's bedroom, with many posters on the walls. Fine. I called for an hour, coachman. The horses and carriage is ready. The carriage to take me to my beloved Dustin's concert, of course. See, so she's just infatuated with some rock star. He's madly in love with the minstrel. She adds that because of her love for him, she was the victim of a nasty incident in the elf forest a few days ago. Yeah, she met an old witch in the forest to buy a very expensive elixir, hoping to make the famous bard fall in love with her. On the way back near the creek, something scared her. It's probably just a harmless little creature, but she. Oh, so this is the people that fucked up the river. Okay. Next thing's from Cellar Shop. All you need is a loot that appears identical to the one owned by that elf. The minstrel charms his victims with its magic. The shop has all sorts of music makers, from the classic to the bizarre. A human sits on a stool tuning a strange guitar with 3 handles. He sees you coming and welcomes you with a big smile. You tell the minstrel about the merchant's weird loot. He tells you that he knows of it. There's an old legend about a beggar and his loot. The beggar managed to get a golden mane from a now extinct animal, and he used the hair to make the strings of the lute. You don't have much time. Interrupting the long story, you ask if he could help you. The man shows you another perfectly identical you, but without any magic powers. Be yours for 150 coins. No discount, so we can't afford it because we only have 130. It's late and the concert is about to start. You easily elude his bodyguard. The huge orc is sleeping, wearing a coat with the elf's big face painted on it. You get inside the minstrel's changing room through a curtain covering the entrance. Without making a sound, you hide yourself behind some boxes of stage costumes left over from the previous show. Dustin's back is towards you as he sings to himself. He's really off-key. He hasn't realized you're there. Despite a loot tucked inside a precious leather case with silver embroidery placed atop a stool. We're not stealthy. We'll just confirm. All of a sudden, Dustin turns around. He's surprised to see you here. He calls loudly to his orc henchman, who charges in the room after a few seconds over his eyes. The guard pulls out a knife and attacks you. I don't think we can win, but we're going to fight anyway. Undamaged, ready to engage in combat. We're on our way because we're a coward. That's how we didn't lose anything, really. I mean, the stonecutters hate us a little more, but that's fine. We didn't get any money, but we didn't lose anything. We got a little bit of fame. Alright, we'll try and train in water one more time and see what happens. Because we know most of our answers again. Female voice and 2 male voices. Listen. So we don't know who they are, the few mages, but okay. Okay, so now we gotta talk to Jinbo, since she... see if we can help. Your name is Mandrake, I've seen blah blah blah. We got the money. We'll bribe you. Fairy dust. Okay, so we tried to fight her and then she sacked me and ran away. I guess all we need is the mushroom sample. That's not too bad. And we got the mushroom sample without any issue. Let me tell about the witch's request. She revealed one of the ingredients in exchange for friendlier treatment to the population around the forest. Should I be friends with every foolish race that comes to butcher our forest just because one of them helped me solve a disaster that she herself created? Is that what you were telling me? Yes, help people, bitch. You try to make him understand that cooperating always brings good results, but the elf is single-mindedly biased and doesn't leave you in the slightest chance for a discussion. Irritated, the druid leaves, but at least try to convince him aside from training. That's all we promised, was that we would try, so... I think that's good enough. So we lost honor, we lost morality. I don't give a fuck. We gained renown and fame. And the druids like us a little more. We did some good work. Messed up some quests, we did good in some other quests. Could get some better stuff. Why not? Can't sell things, unfortunately. Just a gun. Okay. I realize we change our wand. So yeah, maybe we'll buy a better wand too. Alright, but again, you get the idea. That's enough. It's one line. You go until your person dies or you retire. When you retire, like I said, you unlock everything. So that's why we choose Cleric now at the start. I don't know what we gotta do to unlock the other quests or other classes and other races and such. But we'll figure that out in the future. GG's.